I did it. I finally did it. I finally watched -1. I bought it like a month ago, and then I just didn't watch it for a while, but last week I did it. I finally watched it, and it was amazing. I loved it. It's definitely one of my favorite Godzilla movies. I don't know which one is my favorite. There's they're all really good. I just recently rewatched all of them too, so they're all good. I can't decide which one's my favorite, but this is definitely in the top 3. Yeah. I am really hoping there will be like a sequel or something in the future. I really hope so. Anyways, we're going to find out what would happen if MonsterVerse Godzilla met in -1, which it'd probably be a very interesting encounter, you know? I don't know how it would go, but I am very curious, though. That is for sure. I am very curious. So, yeah, let's just jump right in, shall we? Really hoping I can get a good video recording session out of this today, because my internet has been terrible for like the past few hours, so hopefully I can get a good video out of this.
Godzilla -1 has proven to be one of the most destructive Gojira incarnations, a literal walking weapon of mass destruction, wrecking...
I remember watching this with my Nana, and every time we saw something flying, we were both like, oh shit. Oh, you should have seen our reactions whenever he did the atomic breath in Ginza. I think that's what it was called, yeah. Because you should have seen our reaction when he did his atomic breath then, too, because we were just like, holy shit.
Anything that crosses its path. But what if Legendary Godzilla got in the way? What would this guy think about -1? And most importantly, would this heat ray hurt its MonsterVerse counterparts?
That's a good question.
In this episode, we'll reveal what could happen if these two...
Yeah, like that is... Would either of their... would its heat ray and would his atomic breath hurt him either as well? So that's a very good question. Yeah, they might just have to get all up close and physical, probably, maybe. I don't know.
Existed in the same.
Now that actually begs the question: well, I don't know how. I don't know. You know, I'm not gonna speak on it.
Universe and see if these two would eventually get along. Subscribe to not miss any content on your favorite kaiju. Coming up, Legendary Godzilla meets -1. To begin, we'll start by stating that this episode is not necessarily a face-off, but rather a what-if scenario where both Gojiras will have the opportunity to interact.
Okay, I knew there was a size difference between the two, but I did not know it was this big. Like, I did not know it was this much of a size difference. Okay. Oh, jeez. I didn't think there was. Like, I thought you know -1 would be at least half the size of MonsterVerse, but I guess not. He's literally the size of MonsterVerse Godzilla's leg. Actually, not even. It's still a bit shorter. Oh, jeez. He could probably stomp on him, like, and literally too.
Act with each other in an alternate universe. In this scenario, we'll stick with the events that occurred in the film Godzilla -1, where this guy visited Ginza.
You know, now that I think about the atomic breath and heat ray, it might be like the Iron Man versus Thor thing in the Avengers, where Thor hits him. You know, that scene where Thor hit Iron Man with the lightning and it just powered his suit up. Maybe that's what will happen if these two use their beams on each other. Like, they just beam the other one and they just get stronger, but then it doesn't really matter because, you know, they beam them back and then they get stronger too, and then it just goes back and forth. Maybe they do get along and they just keep on powering each other up, you know? Maybe that's what they do. It's like, let's just stay here and keep blasting each other so we can get stronger and stronger. Interesting thought.
And more or less marked his territory by leaving a very special form of radioactive footprints.
Oh, yeah.
A nuke explosion. The creation of these new weapons and technological advances that brought forth this amount of destruction took place at the end of World War II and improved upon during the Cold War era. If you want to relive the war atmosphere of this time period, there is no other better way than playing War. So we discussed the serious effects that are caused by just one of these heat ray blasts.
I should probably watch
that. To
that.
go a little more in depth, note that upon exploding, this mushroom-shaped cloud happens to be setting up the perfect condition to send atomic particles up to the atmosphere. These particles spread out and fall back down in the form of dust, or in many cases as tar-colored rain. Anything or anyone that makes contact with this is subject to radioactive poisoning. This stuff also renders any food, water, or ground inadequate for use or consumption. People that do not wash this stuff away or are exposed to the surrounding area where the nuke explodes will suffer from ionizing radiation.
Yeah, it's never a good thing when nukes happen. Never.
Causing mutations in their genetics or cancer. There's more. The debris and cloud that rises from the ground will block any sunlight for a long time period. Any surviving vegetation will now be deprived of adequate sunlight, causing much of the surrounding flora to eventually die off. So why does all this matter in this scenario? If it hasn't become clear already, just one of these heat rays fired by this Godzilla has some serious consequences in the environment.
Oh yeah.
Nothing good comes out of this. In our scenario, -1 fires one heat ray, and Legendary just so happens to be close enough to detect a radioactive spike. Immediately, Legendary turns from his normal patrolling route and heads straight to Ginza. This confrontation is about to begin. While Godzilla makes his way to Ginza, let's quickly discuss what this Godzilla might do once he finds out that this dude is the culprit. Monsterverse Godzilla, unlike its counterpart in -1, has a different philosophy when it comes to inflicting destruction. Legendary's Goji's role in the planet is more or less to make sure there is environmental stability, and to take out any threats that might cause global catastrophe.
Yeah, that is true, because Monsterverse Godzilla, from what I know, has never really deliberately attack the city for no reason, or attack anything for no reason. As far as I know, the only thing he really attacked deliberately was Apex, and that was because they were making Mecha Godzilla and shit. And he'd only fight back if, you know, he got hit first, too. So, yeah. Meanwhile, -1 just kind of showed up in Ginza and just started fucking shit up. Yeah, so, who knows?
There are many examples of this, such as when Godzilla prevented this Muto pair from reproducing. Had they reproduced, then we would be looking at a global Muto takeover.
Oh yeah,
in Aftershock,
I watched the video.
Muto Prime, preventing another Muto pair to be produced. In King of the Monsters, this guy was after Ghidorah, who was not only a living Category 6 hurricane, but also the one responsible for summoning many Titans to wake up and ruin the planet. In Godzilla Dominion, the G-Man prevented Amuluk from taking over a territory overseen by Behemoth, and in the act saved one of the world's largest rainforests from being contaminated by this pestilent Titan.
I don't know much about Amulek, but I should probably learn at some point. The only thing I knew is that it did have something to do with Behemoth, like just now said. I don't know, maybe that's something I should look into at some point.
So, as we can see, Legendary Goji seems to have a big issue with Titans that destroy the environment for no good reason.
Yeah.
To be fair, this Godzilla has caused a lot of collateral damage. In the name of the greater good, but never goes out and destroys things for no reason.
Yeah, and it's kind of inevitable whenever it comes to him destroying shit, because, you know, you're definitely going to be destroying a lot of shit when you're this big just by existing, when you're just walking around. Like, there's no way you're not, okay? Like, it is just inevitable. Like, trillions of dollars going to waste, probably going to catch a few bodies, and yeah. Yeah.
Unless, of course, those things attack him. So now that we learned what living forms piss Godzilla off, we can now go back to -1, who is admiring his work of art, which just so happens to be the type of stuff that pisses off Legendary, who actually just arrived just in time to see the mess -1 made.
Yep.
What exactly happens isn't known for sure, but we'd guess their first encounter would go a little like this. From Godzilla's point of view, the focal point of this scene would obviously be the big ginormous mushroom cloud that towers in the sky. Black tar like liquid rain as Godzilla gazes upon the leveled city and the mass corpses left behind by the rubble. It's evident that whatever life used to be here is now terminated, and this land is no longer suitable for life for many years. Now, logically, Godzilla will try to figure out who did this. And to his surprise, he turns and sees what seems to be a smaller member of his own species. Surprise, surprise! Now, admittedly, we'd like to think that Legendary would be a bit surprised after finding out that this colossal mushroom cloud and vast amount of destruction was caused by this little fella right here. Don't get us wrong, -1 is huge, but compared to Legendary, this dude is less than half the height of this Godzilla. Legendary is now thinking a lot here while staring at this little guy. Someone like him, an alpha who is responsible for establishing order on the planet, may now think to do the following. One option would be to get the little Goji to submit and perhaps call him up later when a blast like this is required. Since
now that I want to put in some theories too, like, obviously, he's clearly pissing him off because, he's causing destruction for no reason. But then there's also, like, I imagine there might be some, what's the word? There might be some, what is the right word? I need to think of the right word. Maybe Godzilla, Monsterverse Godzilla has second thoughts because, he is the last of his race, or at least right now he is. And then he sees this, who's basically another Godzilla, and it's like, maybe they have like a Suko Kong thing go on, but at the same time we don't know, because he kind of just went around and just killed like tons of people by making a massive ass explosion. Or maybe it could still be a Kong Suko thing where he just beats the hell out of him and then he becomes complacent and everything. Maybe. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to know. Or, since he did this, he's just gonna be like, fuck it, these hands are rated E for everyone, and you're getting it too. I wonder if there was infighting with Godzilla's species and everything. I've never read the comics, by the way, so I wouldn't know. But I wonder if there was, like, ever infighting with the Godzilla species, back when, they were still alive, I wonder if there ever was. Interesting thought. Lots of that.
Killing him right here would be a waste of atomic power. After all, the side effects happening in Ginza are in the end beneficial to Legendary, since this guy feeds on radiation. It's not out of character for the G-Man to spare malevolent titans. He's done this before many times, as long as they submit, and even gone as far as rescuing malevolent titans from humans, as was the case with Titanus Nikika. But will the G-Man spare -1? Maybe. That's if this one is cooperative, but there's a flip side to this. Upon encountering -1 for the first time, Godzilla will not necessarily be sure that this guy is fully grown, meaning that in the G-Man's point of view, this guy could still be a juvenile and has more room to grow and get larger,
that could be possible,
growing to become more powerful than himself,
maybe even taller.
-1 into a serious threat, one that might threaten his status as Alpha in the future. So, what would Legendary Godzilla do in this case? Well, it's become clear at this point that Legendary will very likely hate -1 automatically, since the cooperation of this fella seems very unlikely after witnessing that there was no real reason to destroy this place. There are no other kaiju around that were fighting -1. There were no real pre-existing threats here that mess with the planet, therefore nullifying any good excuse -1 had for blowing up this place.
It has zero excuse. He just showed up and just caused massive destruction and death. So yeah, Godzilla might just say fuck it and just straight up kill the thing.
As a result, Godzilla will now determine that this dude is a bully and nothing else in his point of view. Now this leads us to how this Godzilla would fare in battle. Here, you have to set all bias aside regarding who's your favorite Godzilla and stick with the facts. And that is that Legendary Godzilla will have the edge in most, if not all, physical categories. If you need more detail, then we're talking about some combat attributes such as weight, speed, agility, and most definitely melee weaponry. Since the tail alone of this Godzilla would be enough to send -1 flying. If hit with the very tip of the
tip. He'd probably pick him up and just slam his ass into the ground too. Maybe get another suplex in. Maybe he'll RKO him or do some other wrestling move. Bring back the Showa Godzilla drop kick.
tail with the dorsal spikes, Legendary would technically almost be able to cut this dude in half given the centrifugal force. So to save us some time, there is absolutely no way -1 would be able to hold its ground against a melee assault from Legendary.
Yeah.
And the best part here is that they both know this. Legendary Godzilla would literally be looking at -1 with the "we both know you don't want this fight" look. So obviously -1 would resort to its more powerful weapon, the Heat Ray, which is a blue-hued atomic ray of energy that condenses into an impacted target, causing a blast similar to an atomic bomb. Or as Legendary Godzilla calls it, food.
Yeah.
That's right. In the past...
Yep, it'll be just like the Thor versus Iron Man from Avengers. He's just gonna make him stronger. He's just like, thanks. Just blast him off. Well, he might power up -1. Does -1 feed off of radiation? I imagine it would. I don't remember if it said anything about it feeding off of radiation, but I imagine it would. But if it doesn't, then, well, he's screwed. Yeah.
Legendary Godzilla has served these delicious atomic delicacies every time with favorable side effects, often returning as more robust, stronger, more energetic, agile, etc.
Yep.
That is because titans like him make use of these high levels of radiation and come out stronger than before, regardless of the effects of the insane power of the pressure from the blast. Humanity has been surprised by this feat already after the nuclear test in Castle Bravo, when they realized they didn't kill the G-Man after blowing up a nuke in his face.
Just made him
In
stronger.
King of the Monsters, this was later used as a way to juice him up.
Yep.
So there's absolutely no reason to think that if hit with a heat ray, Legendary Godzilla wouldn't come out benefiting from this.
Oh, yeah.
Does the blast itself affect Godzilla? Maybe, but it most
Maybe a
definitely
little bit.
isn't enough to handicap him.
I think it'd maybe just give him like maybe a little pushback, maybe, if even that. He might be able to stand tall and just withstand it. He might power through it, maybe. I don't see it like sending him flying or anything, honestly.
After Serizawa detonated the warhead in Godzilla's lair, the previously injured G-Man rose rapidly, displaying his full atomic prowess. So, in our scenario, Godzilla would initially run up to -1, attempting to finish him off using melee attacks. Knowing that he's about to get stumped, -1 charges up his heat ray and fires on Legendary Goji. After the smoke clears away, and to -1's terror, Legendary Goji emerges from the cloud dust, gradually becoming even more radioactive. After witnessing that his most powerful attack did not work, he now has a decision to make. Submit or face certain death.
Yeah.
So it's likely that if this Godzilla wants to stay alive, he'll submit. However, Legendary Godzilla may have different ideas.
Yeah.
Remember, this little guy in his...
Yeah, he just might, because for one, we don't know if it actually -1 would submit, and two, who knows if Godzilla MonsterVerse is MonsterVerse Godzilla might be tired of making other kaiju submits, because we're not gonna act like he wasn't sick of Scylla and Doormat shit. And yeah, I'm still calling Tiamat Doormat. I'm not, you can't stop me. You can't stop me from calling Tiamat Doormat. But anyways, we're not gonna act like he wasn't sick of their shit in that movie after finding out that he already gave them many chances. He might be like, I'm done giving chances, and just get straight down to business and just tear him apart. He just might. I don't know.
Point of view could still grow up larger.
Yeah.
If Legendary lets him live, he risks this fella inflicting even more destruction, potentially killing millions of life forms. A fun detail is found in Godzilla Dominion, where he knew that this old nuclear warhead would explode if he allowed Scylla to access it. So he knows pretty well the negative effects of this power. So it's likely that Godzilla would choose to end -1.
Yeah.
Godzilla's atomic breath works differently than -1's.
Oh.
Not necessarily condensing into an atomic bomb, but still packed with enough heat and destructive power to kill it if it's exposed to it for enough time. Melee-wise, Godzilla would tear -1 to shreds, but risking regeneration after he's all torn up. Legendary would likely finish it with the atomic blast.
Yeah.
But this is just one possibility. Do you think Legendary would spare -1 in hopes that he doesn't become trigger happy again? Or do you think -1 signed the line and sealed his fate by firing at Legendary Goji? Don't forget to hit the link below.
If he fires at Monsterverse, then he's definitely he's a goner. If he fires, or at least I think he would be. Yeah.
To play War Thunder for free on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, so you can get all these exclusive bonuses and dominate the battlefield. We'll see you there and in the next episode.
Alright, well, that was it. I'm curious as to what you guys would think in a situation like that, too, because, like, I can definitely see a multitude of outcomes, honestly, but if we are going off logically, then I think that it's most likely going to end up with Monsterverse killing -1, honestly. Like, it just... I just feel like that's most likely to happen, honestly. Especially if it happened in a scenario like this, then yeah. I can see it happening that way, yeah. That or, you know, having Kong Suko moment, but with Legendary -1, maybe. I don't know. It's a what-if situation, so, you know, you can form whatever you think would happen in your head, I guess. I don't know. Let me know. I'm curious to know what you guys think. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. So check out the original one, which will be in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, y'all. Goodbye.